Are you ready? Go. Take two.
He put his boots on. You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. Bring on through to the other side. Bring on through to the other side. Bring on through, bring on through, bring on through, bring on through. Hey, 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 hey. Come on!
What keeps you alive and kicking? Getting up in the morning is the hardest thing to do. Having a reason to get up in the morning is the second hardest thing to do. Third hardest thing to do is doing it. So execution is all, but trying to do it every day on a steady basis is not such a simple thing. When you're younger, you have more natural energy. When you're older, you have to husband your energy. Could a filmmaker be a whistleblower as well? Well, that's a good question. Certainly documentaries first, the one about Snowden was certainly a whistleblowing film. Laura Poitras made it, Citizen 4.
Laura, at this stage I can offer nothing more than my word. I am a senior government employee in the intelligence community. I hope you understand that contacting you is extremely high risk.
But there's been Al Gore's film, The Inconvenient Truth. These are whistleblowing. There's good films. I think there's tremendous subject matter. Making a feature doc film from beginning to end with a script, actors, new cast, and all this is trying to recreate a reality. It's much more complicated and costly. Certainly, I think the JFK case was a good one, because we brought attention to something that had been forgotten. They hadn't been talking about that assassination for several years. It had fallen aside after 1975 in the committees. So 1993 was about 16 years later, 17 years later. It was good. I'm glad we did it.
Y'all got to get into your minds how the hell the spooks think. Now, they're not ordinary crooks. Think the unthinkable. Question everything. White is black, and black is white.
What is the last movie that got you in anger, that made you hopeful? I loved a little simple film about a high school girl, and it was called Lady Bird. It was called Lady Bird, and that was a beautiful film about going to high school. I never went to high school, but I thought it was a very common experience, having the boyfriend. Everything was the first time, and leaving your hometown, it was a beautifully done movie.
I want to go where culture is, like New York, or at least Connecticut or New Hampshire, where writers live in the woods.
Get into those schools anyway. Mom, you should just go to City College. With your work ethic, just go to City College and then to jail, and then back to City College, and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up and not expect everybody to do everything.
That's one, and then you're asking about angry. The messages in the Post are wrong because they're not historically correct. The Washington Post has always been a cheerleader for war in America. It was for the Vietnam War, and buried the Iran-Contra story and buried the James Risson surveillance story. Surveillance was when George Bush was elected in 2004 for the second time. A month before that, the New York Times had the story of the mass eavesdropping. He would not have been elected. They buried that story because Bush asked them to. This goes on all the time in journalism. So I don't like movies that make fake heroes like journalists when they're not.
Do you have the papers?
Not yet.
This is a devastating security breach that was leaked out of the Pentagon. The most highly classified documents of the war.
Did you have any posters in your teenage bedroom? When I was a teenager, unfortunately, I was in boarding school, so I was very strict, and we were not allowed to have things on the wall. Now it's different. There were no girls in the school either. We had homework. But when I went to Vietnam as a soldier in 1967, I heard for the first time really soul music, James Brown, Motown music, and it really opened my eyes. And then the rock and roll Jim Morrison, The Doors, Gracie Slick, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, all that came and hit me. And that was my teenage years. So I had late teenage years.
Jim Morrison, the god of rock.
You have something against your parents. Everyone has some beef with their parents, but I think I really love both of them very much. And there were times I hated them, both. But I find that over the balance of your life, love overcomes hate in all these cases. And as I get older, I understand them better and better. And you think back to all those things that they went through and had to overcome. You have a recurring dream. Actually, I've had a recurring dream for the last, recurring dreams about, and I don't like that too much, it's always around war, that I'm caught up in another war. It takes the form of going to sometimes jungles, but it could be wastelands, it could be deserts, and sometimes it's nuclear. But it's an agitating dream. The next controversial leader you plan to shoot, I don't think that way. I'm not a newsman. What I am is an idea man, and I'm interested with the ideas that are important to us as a civilization, which is peace. If I could do something that would promote coexistence of this planet and more humanity, I would definitely want to do that. Why did Russia hack the election? 3 words to define Donald Trump. Impulsive, egotistical, the 3rd word is tougher. You could say dangerous, but there are times that you hope that he isn't, that he recognizes the common humanity we all have. And then what do we have left? What does that mean? What do we have left? For me, I have a few years. Hopefully, it could end tomorrow. I would like to make the best of those years, live life as fully as I can, enjoy it as much as possible, have some happiness. Happiness is important. I think laughing is great, and I wish I could laugh more. Okay, thank you.